Hello, everybody. Welcome to Reality Derby here in our brand new podcast space. I'm Marcus James Dixon.
I'm Denton Davidson, and we're talking all things The Masked Singer this week. Flavor Flav kicked off as Space Ranger, and he's pissed.
I'm pissed.
And he's going to give us the dirt on why he thinks they did him dirty. And he's got a lot of other fun things to say. We talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and
Taylor Swift.
The Swiftie.
I will say this is probably the sassiest interview that we've had with a Masked Singer cast-off.
Yeah, I think it's the best so far because it's always fun to get a little dirt on a show, especially if someone's really upset that they were eliminated. So we can get into that a little bit.
Yeah, so why don't we talk about, the big elephant in the room. He basically trashes the show.
Well, because it's so obvious that it was him. I mean, he's like, you can't mistake that voice, even when he's distorted, and then they put a big clock on his belt, so it just gets a little ridiculous at that point. So, I mean, we can let him tell the story.
Yeah, let's go to Flavor.
We'll get into the interview.
The clues were very, very simple, because, I mean, I got one of the most distinctive voices on the planet, you know what I'm saying? And it's not hard to take my voice and link it to those easy ass clues that they had up there. I mean, the clues were so simple. You know what I'm saying? I call it they did me a little dirty. I call it they did me a little dirty. You know,
you even had a clock on your belt.
It could have gave me some more harder clues. You know what I'm saying? But taking my voice and linking it up to the PE that was up there on the screen. And then also talking about the hardware that I wear around my neck, and everybody knows that Flavor Flav is known for hardware,
right?
For clocks. And then also another easy clue that gave me away was the clock belt that the Space Ranger had on. The caveman could have figured it out.
I mean, I don't know if, like, behind the scenes, people that are putting these costumes together or the clue packages together, what age or demographic they come from. But for someone of my age or your age who knows Flavor Flav, I mean, maybe there's like a 25-year-old putting these packages together behind the scenes, and that was like, oh, no one's gonna know Flavor Flav, but everyone knows Flavor Flav except for Ken Jeong.
Oh, that was so embarrassing. Who did he pick at the end? I forget.
DJ Jazzy.
And I love when Flavor said, they did me a little dirty. I think he may be right. And he said a caveman could have figured it out. So funny. He also talks a little bit about his costume, the Space Ranger costume, and how he pulled it off. So let's see what he has to say.
When I first seen the costume, I'm like, oh shit, how in the hell am I going to do this? But I said to myself, you're Flavor Flav, and there's nothing in this world that you can't do. And I am the world's first and greatest hype man. So I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull this off. And you know what? I looked at the playback last night, and I think I did a pretty good job pulling that suit off. And it let me know that there's nothing in this world that I can't do.
So this week was Ghostbusters night. Yes. So everyone's saying something that had like a Ghostbusters theme to it. I didn't necessarily understand how
there's no rhyme or reason
how it tied together.
No, it didn't
at all. But he's saying "Cleaning Up the Town" by the Bus Boys, which I found impressive because the way he's able to move at 66 years old is impressive. I mean, he was dancing. But I have a question for you. Do you think they know how obvious it is that it's auto-tuned? I mean, when you're watching, can't you hear it?
I definitely can hear it, and I always send you a little message like, oh, this person is really, really auto-tuned. And I feel like in the older seasons, they didn't really do that.
No.
So maybe that's something that they've decided through the years to add to the show.
I'm not sure, but I think it would be so much better if they just had people that were awful. Like,
I
you
would
should
agree.
be on there and awful. That's like the fun of the show. That's like a karaoke. The fun part is seeing the people that are terrible.
I totally agree. Like, I want to hear the worst singers possible. That's why I'm tuning into this show.
So I don't know if Flavor Flav was unexpectedly good beyond my comprehension or if they tuned him up a little bit. But maybe it's a little combination of both. But I will say, regardless, he's one hell of a performer, and he was doing some things up there that I hope I can do when I'm 66 years old.
So next year.
So this is what he had to say about his own performance.
I've always been active, you know what I'm saying? And also, I do go to the gym and I box for cardio, you know what I'm saying? So, and I do run, I do run every now and then. I don't run every day, but I do run every now and then, just to keep myself in some type of shape. I never know when I got a show coming up, a random show coming up, and I got to be on that stage with my partner, Chuck D. I really, really got to be the hype man that the world perceives me to be and the hype man that I say that I am. So you got to run every now and then just to keep yourself in shape,
So one of the great things about Flavor Flav is that he is a big Swiftie. He has all kinds of friendship bracelets up and down his arms, which all the fans do at the concerts, and he sang one of her songs on the show.
He did. He sang Bad Blood, his first performance out in Group B, and there was a lot of clues in that direction that he was some sort of a Swiftie, and I think maybe he would throw people off like it was someone she had collaborated with. But he's not underestimating, like, the stand-up that he's under in terms of being a Swiftie. He goes to a lot of concerts. There's photos. They're hugging. I mean, these are friends, and he's a legit Swiftie.
First of all, by me going to her show in the first place in Detroit, it was the first Taylor Swift show that I ever went to, and when I was there and I was in the celebrity tent, a lot of the younger generation, all these kids were coming up to me, giving me these friendship bracelets. Next thing you know, before you know it, I had bracelets all up my left arm, bracelets up all my right arm. And I'm like, what is it about this Taylor Swift girl, man? Why is she drawing all of these people? Why is everybody going so crazy over her? So I went home and I started listening to her music real hard. And I started, studying her lyrics. And I discovered that this girl, she writes about experiences that she's, had in life. She writes about her lifetime experiences and everything, you know what I'm saying? And the experiences that she goes through is identifiable. You know what I'm saying? I could identify to a lot of the stuff that she wrote about. And you know what I said to myself? Hey, man, this girl is badass, man. She's real. And that's when I started really listening to all of her songs. And I'm like, damn, this girl is dope.
I do have to get into it with him a little bit about being part of Public Enemy. I mean, this is a legendary hip-hop group, and he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2013. And he has really good insight into that because he's very well aware of how many people should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that are not, and how he got in before some people that may have been deserving before him. So I think the conversation is very interesting in just what he has to say about that institution and really hip-hop artists being part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you something, man. Going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was one of my biggest moments ever. You know what I'm saying? Because it was at the time that we went in, it was very hard to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And there are people right now that, legends of mine. And how can I say this? Like people that inspired me through music. You know what I'm saying? They're still not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet. How did I get in there before them? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine. And by us going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by Harry Belafonte. I mean, Quincy Jones. Oh my God. It was such an amazing honor. Such an amazing honor. And it became a bragging right for me. I'm sorry I'm laughing at that, man, but yeah, man, it became a bragging right. You know what I'm saying? Because not to there's check this out. There's a lot of people that going to make it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's a lot of people that's not going to make it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to feel proud and honored to be able to say that for a lot of the people that won't make it there, I ain't got their problem.
Well, that was our interview with Flavor Flav. I mean, very informative, very sassy at times. And at the very end, he does want to take a moment to thank his fans. So let's go ahead and let him do that real fast.
Thanks to all my fan base that made me who I am, that gave me the opportunity and the platform to be on your show.
All right, so he was a member of Group B on The Masked Singer, and there are more people left in Group B. We have Boogie Woogie, we have Griffin, and we have Pearl. Of those three, who is your favorite? Who are you rooting for?
Pearl.
Okay, Pearl.
I like the raspy voice.
Yeah.
I like that. I feel like she's singing songs by like Whitney Houston, but I think in her real life she would absolutely never sing a song like that. So I think that it's someone that's having fun with her voice, and I enjoy that. My personal prediction or guess is that it was Gretchen Wilson, who's, you know, famous as a country singer, redneck woman. And people seem to be supportive of that. We have our spoiler articles that we post up on Gold Derby, and sometimes when I write them, like, we get a lot of positive comments, or if Marcus writes them, we get like read for filth in the comments like this week. But no shade, just kidding.
No, all shade. So my favorite is actually Boogie Woogie. I love the story of the magician who became a singer. Like, he was just obsessed with magic growing up. And that's the one where people in the comments were
They came after us.
Yeah.
Because we said Neil Patrick Harris.
which, by the way, I thought Neil Patrick Harris was on season 1 with Peacock. But I remember we would argue about this like all those years ago. Peacock versus Donny Osmond. Neil Patrick Harris versus Donny Osmond, and I ended up being wrong, unfortunately. I've wanted Neil to be on the show forever.
But the other people in our comments, I mean, so in terms of these people, like, we've gotten guesses for Pink, which is that's absolutely never going to happen.
Never.
And then the other one for Pearl was Katie Tunstall, who, and the cherries are referring to her big black horse and a cherry tree. So, I mean, maybe that's true. I'm not sure, but who do they...
For Boogie Woogie, Andy Grammer is the one that they really think it could be, and he kind of does fit the clues. When I started looking at his sort of discography, I realized he does have a 2024 song titled Magic, so he's always been a fan of Magic, so that totally fits with the clues.
And I will just say in our defense, I mean, usually people that comment like, this is this person, you stupid idiot, usually it's someone that knows it's them because they're a big fan of that person. So, like... You know, for the casual person, yes, I know who Andy Grammer is, but I mean, I'm not going to like pin his ear or his voice instantly in my head when he's covered in a complete mask. So,
and some of them fake their accents and their
do.
voices, their tones and everything. And then, did you want to talk about Griffin real quick? Because James Vanderbeek is the guy that almost every comment is like, it's got to be James.
I actually don't. I have no idea what he sounds like as a singer. I've never heard him sing. Have you?
No, I don't think so. But he's a big Broadway guy, and that's one of the clues is that Griffin, you know, grew up wanting to be a singer, and everyone at school made fun of him, and they're like, "What are you doing that for?" And you know, some of the other clues fit too, like Dawson's Creek. There was a high school bell in one of the clues, and that was all about high school. So. I think the commenters are
we like
usually
the comments,
right.
Even if they
keep them coming.
Even if they're mean and call us idiots, we love to read them. I think it's hilarious, and usually they're right and allow us to see a clearer picture.
And then Group C will be joining the show next week. So let's just briefly mention the costumes: Cherry Blossom, Mad Scientist Monster, Nessie, I can't wait to see Nessie. Stud Muffin and Yorkie. Just based on the photos I've seen, I think Nessie is going to be my favorite.
Yeah, I agree. And then this format is different, so it's like 2 people advance from each group, so each final. So there will be a lucky 6 for their lucky 13 season.
Yeah, they're all about luck this year. So that's our thoughts on The Masked Singer. Tune in next week to Reality Derby. We'll be talking about another show, and it could be anything.
Yeah, we have no idea what we're talking about yet, but it's definitely going to be good, and hopefully with an equally fun and informative interview.
I love how you said definitely going to be good.
I mean, I'm sure.
It could be good.
It's definitely going to be good.